This is journal number 5 for digital citizenship, and this is a really interesting topic, um, especially through the Mailer program where we've been using the Credly tech badges. At first, I was not a fan of the tech badges, but then I realized they could be a great professional development tool. Um, they could be a way for schools and departments to keep track of the professional development and learning that teachers do, whether it is provided for through the school in a structured platform or if it is through self-directed professional development, go to conferences, taking webinars. I do think it is still a form of extrinsic motivation, but it could be a useful tool in promoting and keeping track of professional development. Another really interesting, I guess you can say, technology that I've come across recently was actually at a conference that I went to recently in Detroit called the Big Bang Conference by Big Picture Learning. The conference itself was kind of geared towards out of the box hands-on learning for students through internships, work studies, and just education that happens outside the classroom or school's walls. And in this conference, I met someone who was part of a team that's developing, I guess the way he framed it was a social media learning platform for educators, specifically for teachers, uh, regarding professional development. So it's called EdSpace, and the model is supposed to be almost like a Twitter or Instagram or YouTube comment section without all the vitriol and the negativity, of course, but the structure is based off that. And the idea is to provide a platform for social learning for educators to learn from one another. Another function of this idea, it was kind of a startup in the incubation phase, and this gentleman who was a representative of the company was at the Big Bang conference to learn from other educators about the needs for professional development, what currently works in education, what could be improved upon, how teachers learn, how ongoing continuous professional development is modeled and done effectively. And one of the ideas for this platform, EdSpace, is to provide a way for schools to optimize professional developments that happen offsite. So when we send a teacher, department lead, what have you, to a conference or to professional development, and I guess what I'm trying to say is what happens after you send that person, right? I think very few schools have the infrastructure and the accountability safeguards in place for that learning to be translated into meaningful knowledge for the rest of the staff members. Typically, you send someone, hopefully you have the time and the dedicated resources to allow that person to share their knowledge and turn it into something deliverable in terms of practices for the school. But I doubt that's the case for many schools. This was meant to be a way for teachers to share in their professional development, to whether in real time kind of narrate or start a discussion, whoever is at the professional development, or to even live cast the professional development. So I thought it's really interesting, especially using the social learning aspect of social media. I think that is going to be the trend of the future anyways. So unless we find some way to harness that and again synthesize that into meaningful professional development that is substantial, that is replicable and translatable to practices, procedures, and policies that move the needle for our students and for our staff, then we are not only losing sight of an amazing opportunity, but we are becoming stagnant and possibly regressing, and not staying competitive the way that adults and kids learn. there's a lot of learning that goes on now on Twitter, on social media, Instagram, um, blogs. So part of being a digital citizen and evolving a digital culture amongst the staff that is reflective of this fast-paced changing environment for educators is to anticipate and find out how learning is changing, how social media and technology have really um, have really transformed what it means to transfer knowledge and actively and passively acquire knowledge.